Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 do's and don'ts when you've been involved in a car accident. First, let me say that I've been involved in car accidents. Only once was it my fault and many years ago, and I've been driving for a really long time. I don't want to tell you how long, but anyway, I digress. Point is that first of all, let me just say how I'm sorry that that's happened to you, and hopefully the tips and do's and don'ts will make it just a little bit easier. So I want you to know that accidents happen. They don't have to ruin your life. It might not be the same as what you're hoping it would be, but again, I apologize that it happened to you, although obviously not my fault that it did. But I want you to take these suggestions, maybe even write them on a scrap of paper and put them somewhere where you'll remember to look at it in case you are involved in an accident. I'm working on getting like license and registration holders to give out in order to have these tips on there so that when you need it most, you'll be able to access it. But as of right now, I don't have that. So you're going to want to write these down just in case you forget or in case you can't remember because you're just involved in a car accident. So if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help businesses and people thrive. I go live Monday through Friday, except for holidays and the occasional day off. I do need to function because, believe it or not, doing live videos is a lot of work. And so I take a lot of time to get stuff ready. And so sometimes I need time to just get stuff ready. So, but join me live, ask questions, get your things answered so that you can ask things that you wouldn't get to ask if you can't attend live, which I completely understand. Make sure to leave comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them as I have time. But I look forward to helping you and having you have a better life because of my videos. So let's get started, shall we? All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that you call the police. Now, sometimes they will decline to come out because it's only property damage, but try to insist, try to have them come out. Even unfortunately, if you have to wait for it for a brief time because of the significance of the accident report, that certainly has a lot of value to it if you are not only injured, but also if, for instance, you do need to file a lawsuit. Having that third-party independent evaluation of the accident can go a long way. Okay, so make sure that you're calling for the police. If you're hurt, especially, but even if it's property damage, if the insurance company is going to cover things, they like to have that police report there to take care of them. So that's number one. Number two, you're going to want to seek medical attention because unless you are a doctor, and even if you are a doctor, you want to seek medical attention, you don't know the extent of your injuries until later. Like, it's not always apparent that you have this type of injury or that type of injury or any type of injury, right? And you may be perfectly fine. I'm not suggesting that you're not. But the sooner that you get medical attention to see if you are fine, then the sooner that like if you delay it, then it brings into question whether you're actually injured, okay? When you may not know, and that's the thing, is that this isn't saying you absolutely are injured, and it's not saying you're not. I'm saying that if you don't know what to look for, you could be injured and not know it. Like, it's not always about like missing something or having a gaping wound. There are soft tissue damages. There are harm to your neck, to your back, things of that nature that aren't readily apparent on at the scene of the accident. So don't think that just because you're able to walk and talk and move that doesn't mean that you're not injured, and you should rightly be compensated for that injury. even if it's just soft tissue injury. Because while it might only be soft tissue injury, there could be a lot of factors that go into what your actual injuries are. So getting proper medical attention at the right time will drastically increase the positive outcome of your case if there needs to be one. So seek medical attention, make sure that you're getting taken care of, because you only have one body, right? There's only one thing. And if you don't get that medical attention when you need it the most, it can negatively affect you for the rest of your life if you're not careful. So I encourage you, that's a definite do. Get medical attention as soon as possible afterwards, even if it's just an evaluation. So that's number 2. Number 3, this can't be stated enough. You need to get as much information from the other driver as possible, or other person involved in the accident. And this means personal information: phone number, email address, name, insurance, driver's license, all of those things. Now, you may not get, you need to get reasonable amounts of contact information for them. Those things are the most crucial: the email, phone number, driver's license, insurance. Those are your top things. Make sure that you're as thorough as possible. If they're willing to give you their address, or if that's available to you because it's correct on their driver's license, which it should be, then make sure to have that as well. When I was involved in one of the accidents that I was involved in many years ago, having that driver's information saved a lot of time. That if we would have had to have chased him down, if it would have only been his name and phone number, it would have made it a lot more difficult. So at the time, the insurance company was able to contact him outside of email and phone, and send him letters because he wasn't responding to any of the phone calls and whatnot. And he hit me. That wasn't my fault. So make sure to get the information of the other drivers. And some of this seems obvious, but it's always worth repeating because people forget. When you're in that panic state, when you're in that hurt state, you're not thinking clearly, you're not thinking rationally, and that's understandable, right? Like, you were just hit. It hurts. It's you've got damage to your vehicle. It's terrible. I get it. So that's why I say write these down and put them in your glove compartment so that if you are in an accident, that you can be protected, right? Like, that you don't forget. So you can just look at the list and you don't even have to think about it, right? Like, you're not in your think space, you're not in your head space, so don't risk that you're going to do something you shouldn't do, which we're going to get to those, because you didn't remember, because you didn't write it down. So again, I'm working on getting these things to send to people, but as of right now, I don't have them. All right. The next thing, and this one is probably equally as important, if not more important than getting the information of the driver, of the other drivers involved, would be to get any witnesses, people that were not involved in the accident. They can go a long way towards helping you, or in some instances hurting you, unfortunately, depending on if you're the one that caused the accident or didn't cause the accident, right? It can make a difference, but it's always important to have neutral third parties. Don't have the proverbial dog in the fight, to talk about what they saw, to be able to render a fair, help them render what's fair for every party. So keep that in mind. You want to get their information similar to the other party's information. Phone number, email address, address, if they're willing to share that, name, anything that can allow someone to get a hold of them, especially an attorney, in case we need that witness to verify what happened. Okay. The next thing, and this is probably one of those ones that, I'm so grateful we now have, cell phones everywhere, right? Because it used to be you only got pictures if you happen to have a camera in your car or the police would come out to take pictures. But now, with everybody on a cell phone, there is so many options to be able to protect yourself. If you have a dash cam, those are great, but it can only show one angle or one thing that happened. There's obviously, if you have a rear cam as well, those are very beneficial. So so you want to take as many photographs as possible from as many different angles as possible. You want to start out with three three angles or three distances. So you're going to start with a long distance, a medium distance, and a close distance from as many possible positions as thing. Take a picture of the surrounding areas as well to give an idea of the accident to if there was need for an accident reconstruction. So keep that in mind, is that it's not just about the point of impact that you want to take a picture of it, because that's not always, that doesn't tell the full story. If you can take video of things, that's also very good. Tammy, I'll talk about that in just a second. So so you want to make sure that you take as many photographs. I mean, you have unlimited storage on your phone, so don't feel like if you take a photograph that it's that you're wasting space. Take as many as possible. Be concise though, in that, again, you want to take surrounding areas, the point of impact, three different things of far out, medium, and then very close, so that you get a real feel for what happened in the accident. Take pictures from a 360 all the way around so that you're getting that. Take a picture of the weather so that you can see what the weather is like, because that can affect things as well, as far as who's at fault. If there are extenuating circumstances, that could contribute to the accident. Make sure you're taking pictures of the other vehicle, right? Take pictures of, again, same thing, close, medium, and far away. Take pictures of tires. Take pictures of everything that you can, because you aren't going to get, you aren't going to be able to get that back, right? Because once the accident's cleared from the area, you're no longer able to get those, that exact picture back, right? Like you don't want, like that's messing with stuff. You don't want to mess with that. So taking photographs, those are your do's. Your don'ts are this: don't move the vehicle unless law enforcement tells you to. I mean, within reason, like especially if it's drivable, after you've taken all of your pictures of all of the scene and the police have come and they've evaluated things and they've taken their pictures and they've done their measurements and stuff like that, because they will do a more thorough job. But having your own pictures can go a long way. Like they're going to take tread mark measurements. They're going to do lots of different things depending on the accident. So that's why I'm saying don't move the vehicle until the police tell you it's clear to move the vehicle. And then depending on how bad the damage is on the vehicle and yourself, you may be riding to the hospital in an ambulance and your car may just simply be on a tow truck somewhere. So you may not be able to do all of this. That's when a police officer comes in and takes care of that stuff for you. Next, don't place yourself in danger. Don't do anything that's going to hurt. Like if you come out swinging because the other party hit you, or if you're in the middle of traffic, don't get out of your vehicle to try to do something unless it's safe to do so. Don't make it worse. Don't compound the problem, the accident, by making it worse. Now I get when you're in the middle of emotional reaction that you may not be thinking clearly, but that's why we're talking about this now, so that you can kind of bring stuff down, so that you're not tempted to hurt your case any more than it needs to be. Because we're human, we make mistakes, but there are these things that I'm telling you don't do are going to hurt your case the most. All right. Next thing is don't dispose of evidence. When you take your car to get repaired, keep the pieces. Like you've already taken the pictures, but those pieces may be crucial to seeing points of impact and things that you might need to be reconstructed. And so you can't get that back. Like if they try to throw away the stuff, get them not to. And yeah, that means you're going to have to store it somewhere. But there's what's called spoliation of evidence that you want to avoid. So make sure that you're getting keeping any of the pieces, parts that they can. So the next thing is don't admit fault. This is a big one. Don't get out of your car and say, "I'm so sorry." I know it's tempting. You're risking admitting something that you don't know, okay? Because there can be, as I was saying earlier about pictures, you don't know that you were at fault with absolute certainty. Because if they do a reconstruction and they found that you're not at fault, or if somebody else is at fault, then you've just taken that liability for no reason, right? So it's not that you shouldn't say you're sorry in the respect that you feel bad for what happened. Don't say that, but it's not that you shouldn't feel that way, just don't say it, because it can be considered an admission of guilt. And at that point, it can hurt your case when it could have been the other party's fault or somebody else's fault, right? So you don't know it until it's been properly evaluated. So you don't have enough evidence to support that you truly were at fault. Okay. Next thing. Don't agree to recorded statement without counsel. This one's another big one. This is why you should hire an attorney if you're involved in a car accident, because if you go on record of saying something that's inaccurate, then they can find a way to twist it and make it your fault when it wasn't your fault, or that they're twisting it, or they can reduce the amount of liability of the other party because of your contributory negligence. So you want to be very careful on what you're saying to who you're saying, and don't be on a recorded statement without counsel, without legal counsel, because it can really hurt your case. All right, that was your 10. Now, this is a bonus one, and this is important as well. Don't agree to a settlement without counsel, because you could be assigning your rights away, and without the proper counsel, you may be agreeing to something that can have lasting consequences, that can hurt you gravely, and that can hurt for the rest of your life. Because once a case is closed, it's closed forever. Okay, there is no going back and getting another bite at the apple. Once you agree to a settlement, all of those settlement terms that I've ever seen are, that's it. You agree that that's it. You're never going to be able to take another opportunity to sue them. There are some minor exceptions, but very rare do they happen. So it's not even worth discussing because they're so rare to happen. So that's it. Those are your 10 plus 1 bonus one do's and don'ts of being in a car accident. Don't agree to a settlement without legal representation because you don't know what you don't know. And we deal with insurance companies. We deal with victims of car accidents. We deal with these types of things all the time. And so we want you to be as compensated fairly as possible. So Tammy says, I was in one accident, was going to the chiropractor. I felt better, so I stopped going. But then I was in a worse accident, and their insurance screwed me over because of my other case. My lawyer didn't fight for more compensation. I don't, how did they screw you over because of your other case? I'll let her work on that. So these are all important factors as to being involved in a car accident. Like I said, make sure to write these down. Give yourself the something, laminate the card. Like I said, I'm working on this. I just don't have them yet. Of ways to remember these things. The biggest, most important thing I can tell you is to make sure you're taking those photographs. Those are things that you can't. Oh, yeah. Yeah, insurance companies will do that because they blamed the injury on the other case. Yeah, did the same attorney represent you in both cases? Right. Yeah, without knowing more, it's hard for me to say what if the same attorney. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, it's without knowing about the liability, who was liable for stuff. The other case had closed. Yeah. Yeah, I would have to know the facts of each one. It's okay. Yeah, unfortunately, if you're liable in an accident, that can greatly reduce the amount of compensation that you're getting. Not sure that that was, like I said, without knowing more about the case, I can't say whether that was an attorney error or just the insurance company being a giant. As I've said before, repeatedly, insurance companies are not your friend. Like repeatedly, they are not your friend. Their goal is to save money and not pay out claims. So when you're thinking in context of that, there's really, like, that's one of the main reasons why you hire counsel. So gotcha. Well, again, without knowing liability, where it happened, straight on the passenger side while I was driving, were you crossing a lane of traffic? That's an automatic your fault. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying. I don't know what that is. I'd have to see the reconstruction of it to know what it is. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, Tammy. I know I've dealt with people and I've dealt with clients before like that where it's been a bit tragic. So I understand it's not enjoyable nor painful, or I should say it's not enjoyable and it is painful. I completely understand that. Oh. Yeah. Again, there's a lot to unpack there. Like sounds like there weren't liability issues, but they're gonna say that you were already damaged. Yeah, I don't know. It's good chatting with you. Yeah, thank you for joining me. If you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to subscribe and like, and know that we go live Monday through Friday at 11, except for holidays and an occasional day off. Until then, we'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.